In today's business landscape, customers demand the highest standards, and companies that fail to meet those standards risk falling behind and losing business. Welcome to Nexus Consultancy. We have dedicated over 15 years in helping businesses to implement ISO management systems for improved quality, compliance, operational excellence, and customer satisfaction. Our company's purpose is simple, which is to empower business and people. Our team of experts work closely with our customers to assess their needs and create customized solutions that meet their specific requirements. We conduct thorough audits and evaluations to identify areas for improvement and help our customers implement changes that drive success. Our consultants have extensive experience and serve over 2,000 customers, and we stay up to date with the latest industry trends and best practices. Whether you're a small business just starting out or a large corporation looking to improve your operations, Nexus Consultancy is here to help you optimize your operations, increase profits, and achieve your business goals.
Hello, good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon, everyone. So to those of you who are here, first of all, I would like to ask, can you hear my voice? If yes, please press 1 in the chat box. Okay, so we have feedback from Shamini, Anis. Okay, so to those of you who have just joined the webinar, so please press 1 if you can hear my voice clearly, yeah? Okay, so thank you everyone for the feedback. Okay, so mostly written 1 in the chat box. All right, so good afternoon, everyone. So welcome to the Nexus Tech monthly webinar. My name is Jane from Nexus Consultancy. So I'm from the management consultant team who handles food safety management system. All right, so later on throughout the sharing session, if let's say my voice is not clear or there is slightly line disruption from my side, please let me know, leave a message in the chat box, okay? All right, so I hope everyone can see the share screen right now. It's displaying the big title for today, Food Safety Control in Transport, Storage and Warehouse. Okay. All right, so without further ado, let's begin our sharing session for today. So I believe that all the food manufacturers experts who are here today would agree with me that in order to ensure food that are produced must be safe until it reaches the end user, it is a complex and also critical task, right? So I believe that one of the most crucial stage in this chain will definitely be the transport, storage, and warehouse. So that's why today we will explore the best practices and also the key principle for the food safety control, mainly in transport, storage, and warehouse. Okay. So today's sharing session, there will be 2 modules. So the first module is just a brief introduction on this webinar for today. And then the second module will be dive deeper into the requirements. Okay, so the requirements, we will mainly focus on a few of the food safety management systems. Okay. So actually, what are the food safety system standard that actually highlights the requirement about transport, storage, and warehousing? So first of all, of course, is the FSSC 22000 version 6, together with its additional requirement, ISO 22000, and also the prerequisite program, which is ISO TS 22002-5. So why we pick technical specification part 5? Because part 5 is the prerequisite program that mainly focus on the transport and storage, okay, which is in line with our topic today. So we will pick part 5 technical specification as our reference standard. Okay, so other than that, besides FSSC 22000 and ISO TS, so there are also other GMP standards that actually have requirements on how to monitor food safety control when it comes to transport, storage, and warehouse. So there are two GMP, example like the MS1514 Malaysia standard, and another one is the Codex, which is the General Principles of Food Hygiene. Okay, so this is just a brief introduction to you. Now let's dive deeper into the requirements. Okay, so today the requirements, we will mainly pick two of the food safety management system standard. So the first one, let's look into the FSSC 22000. So you will see that the slide here displayed 2.5.1 until 2.5.10, and also the next slide here, 2.5.11 until 2.5.18. So actually, these are the 18 requirements for the FSSC 22000. So I want to highlight that, you see, one of the requirement in FSSC 22000, 2.5.10, it highlights transport, storage, warehouse. So you can see how important it is, since it is applicable to all food chain categories. Means that right now, no matter you are perishable plant products or ambient stable products manufacturer or animal feed or packaging material products, also we need to fulfill to this requirement. That's why this is very important. Okay, so actually, what does it highlight about? So in this 2.5.10, so we look at here, transport tanker. Okay, so they mentioned that if, let's say, now you got transport raw materials. Okay, so we say raw material, for example, if you got used transport tanker to deliver, to receive of the raw materials, so transport tanker means that they are delivered in a bulk volume, right? So in that case, we must do tanker cleaning validation. What does tanker cleaning validation means to have the evidence to prove that your cleaning method is effective. Okay, so how to prove that it is effective? There are several ways. So it can be based on you do the lab test. Okay, you do the swab test on the tanker, and then based on the microbial parameter to check whether your cleaning is effective or not. Okay, and then another thing is that you can also get the some supporting data, for example, some research journal or publication, scientific publication that actually justify that your cleaning method is effective. That can also be another validation for your tanker cleaning. Okay, so other than that, if let's say now you use the transport tanker, it's not belong to your company, but you actually get the transport tanker from your supplier. So definitely the first thing first, you need to have supplier agreement. That means you must have the agreement with the supplier first. And then second thing, inside the agreement, you must clearly indicate all the applicable control measures that you want them to comply. You want your supplier to comply, because now the transport tanker is not your own one. So if it's from the supplier side, then you must clearly indicate, let them know what they need to comply in order to cooperate with your side. Okay, so what are the things that you need to highlight in the agreement? The first thing is that you must indicate inside that their transport tanker is only for food use only. It's only used to transport food products. Okay, which is same category with the products that they're transporting, your products lah. Okay, that means don't mix the food and non-food lah. And then the second thing is that when they do cleaning, make sure they are using the filtered water, or we say potable water. Okay, potable water or filtered water. And then third thing is that if they are using detergent to clean the tanker, then the detergent must be food grade detergents. Okay, must be food grade detergent. And the fourth thing is that if they use the chemicals, like I said, detergent, then the dilution factor means that how much concentration of the chemical need to be used must be based on their cleaning agent SDS. which is the safety data sheet. So usually safety data sheet inside will written down the dilution factor, right? So make sure that they are complying to that dilution factor. Okay, so all these requirements must be clearly stated in the agreement so that your supplier side are aware of that. Okay, and then of course, they also need to show the validation of their cleaning. So doesn't matter if your supplier, they clean themselves or they send it out to the outsourced cleaning agent, then also must get the cleaning certificate from the cleaner. Okay, so if let's say now you are using the transport tanker to transport finished product, for example, like edible oil, okay, beverage, wine, syrup. So you must do risk assessment on this transport tanker. Okay, risk assessment means it's just similar like the normal risk assessment we do for other food safety management system, which is we need to identify if there is any potential hazard related to allergen, physical, chemical, and biological. Okay, so example, maybe during the cleaning of the tanker and during the release of the tanker, during transportation, so or during the loading and all. So what are the potential risks that could happen? So need to identify, need to do a risk assessment. Okay, so next, let's look into the requirements of transport and storage that is highlighted in this technical specification, which is ISO TS 2202-5. So inside, there are actually 9 requirements that it highlights. So we will go through it one by one today. Generally, okay, there are 4 categorized product groups. Okay, there are 4 categorized product groups. So what is unpacked goods and what is packed goods? Okay, so packed goods are unpacked good is actually goods that are actually exposed. That means it is not totally enclosed in a carton. For example, like your fresh produce coming in a basket or in a open container, or an example like the shellfish in a wire mesh bag. Okay, in a mesh bag. Okay, shellfish in a mesh bag. So this is example of the unpacked goods. Whereas packed goods is like what? Packed goods is like those food products that are stored in the canned food, okay, in the carton, okay. So it's closed, so that is called the packed goods, all right. So each product group, they will have their own preferred storage condition. So some is they just need normal ambient temperature. Some is they are very temperature sensitive. It needs to be in chill storage or it needs to be in frozen storage. So different product groups have different storage condition. Okay, so in order to make sure that our storage warehouse is clean, it all started with the external compound. So our factory external compound must be designed and maintained in order to reduce the contamination from the external factors. Okay, so first thing first, if let's say now you got grow plants or vegetation at your factory compound area, so it must be removed. But if you don't remove it, then it shall be tended. What does tended means? Tended means that maintain and also care it, okay, and also monitor it frequently. For example, frequent trimming of your plants. Okay, if you grow trees, then you must frequently go and trim it. All right. Second thing is that you must check if there is any pest infestation sign or not. Means that just like our normal internal pest control monitoring, you need to monitor for your external compound for this case. Okay, you need to monitor if the vegetation compound there have any sign of the pest infestation or pest harborage or not. Okay, and then third thing must be frequently clear off the debris. So what will the debris be is the fallen leaves and also the fallen branches. Okay, so all these fallen leaves and fallen branches can be a potential habitat for some of the pests as well. Okay, so then the next thing, for all the roads, all the parking area, all the yards, okay, shall be drained to prevent standing water. So what does it say here? In other words, okay, make sure there is no potholes also lah. Okay, if your external compound got potholes, means that we'll have the chance for stagnant water to accumulate. So ponding water is best preferred for the pests that actually like moisture. For example, like flies and rodents also. So make sure that if you got any potholes at the external compound, the flooring, please remember to fix it. Okay. So other than that, loading areas, okay, for the truck when they are loading area. So loading area is best to be in an covered area. So why? Because we don't want later got the birds, okay, flying in. Later birds will have birds dropping. So birds dropping will contaminate the product as well. So other than that, loading area, why is it important to be at least have a roof or enclosed? Why? Because we can protect the goods from the external climate weather disruption. For example, like strong wind or heavy rain, okay? So we can protect the goods from being damaged as well, or any other contamination. All right. So as shown in this picture, this is a good practice. So we must identify our site boundary is at where. Okay. So if let's say you got grow vegetation as shown in the picture, make sure that it is tended with the clear boundaries. Okay. So especially if let's say your factory neighbor, they also grow vegetation. So make sure their vegetation will not grow towards your site, and yours also don't grow towards other people's site. Okay, must frequent trimming, all right, because it will attract the pests coming in, so it will become contamination as well, all right? So just now we focus on the external compound. Now we zoom into it, talk about the internal facility. So internal facility, what need to be take note? Okay, so first thing, make sure that in your storage warehouse, so you definitely have a lot of racking system, right? Make sure there are sufficient space among the racking system so that easy for you to do cleaning. Okay, easy for you to do cleaning, so that easy for you to trace if got any dust or dirt, if anything spillage, so easy for you to clean up as well if the space is sufficient. Okay, and then other than that, why sufficient space is important? Because if you very limited space, then you might, okay, maybe just push among one another, then might cause injury also. Am I right? Okay, so next one is that logical flow of goods and personnel. So usually we will say, okay, your direction or flow of the employees, and also your flow of the finished good and raw materials. Okay, it cannot be in the same direction, cannot have cross contamination. So example, okay, maybe you will say that certain factory building, okay, their building design, they have some limitation. Maybe they only have one entrance for the loading and unloading of the raw material and finished good. Okay, if only have one entrance, then what you can do, you can separate by time. Okay, so maybe in the morning, you arrange for incoming of raw material. Then in the evening, you arrange loading of your finished good. So separate by time. Okay, and then this is to avoid cross contamination. All right, the next thing is that adequate lighting. So in your packing area, in your storage area, okay, you will do some picking activity over there, right? Loading activity. That's why you must make sure that the lighting is sufficient. The lighting intensity is sufficient. Okay, so must be bright enough. And then next thing is that ventilation. Make sure must have proper ventilation. So usually what do you mean by proper ventilation? You must have example like air conditioner. This is one type of the mechanical ventilation. Another one is the exhaust fan. Okay, so for exhaust fan, okay, you can imagine there is a hole at the exhaust fan, right? So if you got use exhaust fan, then remember to have the wire mesh screen or netting, okay, to avoid the exhaust fan have the hole, and then in the end, the pest can enter your warehouse area. All right. So other than that, okay, chemicals and processing aids. What are processing aids? Okay, processing aids are example like emulsifier, stabilizer, thickener, flavor enhancer, coloring, all that are processing aid. So all these, including the chemicals, okay, must be labeled, all right, must be labeled, and also clear identification, and also must be stored separately from your food products. Okay, it must have their own designated storage room, or if let's say you have no any extra room for that, then make sure you have the cabinet which is locked. Okay, if it's a room, also must be locked. All right, so must be a locked area, and then preferable the lock is only held by the designated person. The key is held by the designated person. Means example, you let warehouse supervisor or warehouse manager to hold the key. So anyone who want to use the chemical will get the permission from them. This is to also to avoid sabotage and also unforeseen spillage issues. Okay. Then the next one, when we talk about the flooring, the wall, and also the ceiling, okay, preferable to have the smooth surface. So that's why usually, right, the floor and the wall, we will always suggest to use the epoxy material. So why want to use epoxy material? Because epoxy material is actually more higher resistant to chemicals, okay? So means that if you want every time after the operation finish already, then you do the clean up process, so you will use the detergent to wash the floor and scrub it. So it will not that easy. The paint will not that easy to go off. Okay, and also it's higher resistant to the chemicals. That's why epoxy material is highly recommended. And also it's a smooth surface, so easy for you to do cleaning. Other than that, if let's say your warehouse in your storage area, there is the drainage, internal drainage, okay, as shown in the picture on the right, then make sure that there is adequate drainage and also the drainage system is flowing in the right direction, means that it's flowing from the clean area out to the dirty area and not intervallate, okay? So must have adequate drainage. And of course, sometimes maybe you will have cellophane tape and all, don't throw into the drains, okay? So because end up the drains will be stuck and then it will cause overflow issue, all right? Okay, so next thing is that talk about the water supply. So if let's say now you are using water to clean up any of the equipment inside your storage area. So if the equipment is usually very high potential to direct contact with food products, because as I said, right, certain food products, they are packed, but certain they are unpacked goods, right? So if those like racking system you use to store the unpacked goods, then when you use water to clean up the racking system, so make sure the water must be the treated one. Okay, that's why you see the sentence, treated if required. So if you use the water to clean up the equipment surface that will have in contact with your food products, then you must make sure the water is actually reverse RO water or deionized water. That means filtered water. Okay, and then the water must go for the water lab analysis, okay, which you can refer to the food regulation 25th schedule, the parameters for lab testing on the water. All right, okay, so next one, air and ventilation. As I said just now, ventilation very important because to make sure that the airflow is sufficient. Other than that, to remove excess humidity, because we don't want later the storage area become too humid, okay, so it might affect the product as well. All right, next thing is that if now you got use compressor, and then if let's say the compressor, the air that they release will be in contact with the food, then make sure that you use the oil is actually the food grade oil, okay, food grade oil or the oil-free compressor. If let's say the compressed air will be direct contact with the food products, yeah. Okay, so how to show that it is a food grade oil? If you say, okay, oil need to be food grade, then you can refer to the safety data sheet from the supplier, the SDS. All right, so next thing, lighting. Okay, in terms of lighting, we also need to monitor because of course in your warehouse will have a lot of light tubes, right? So light tubes must be covered with the shatterproof cover. Okay, must be covered with the shatterproof cover. If let's say you say, I don't want to cover it, is there any other method? So you can have the LED lighting, but provided that you have the specification, the product spec of the light tubes and shatterproof cover light tubes, because later if the light tubes, let's say it break, then it will shatter into pieces, right? So if it shatter into pieces, then if it dropped onto the products, then it is hard for you to trace back. Okay, it will become physical hazard. All right. However, if you already cover it, okay, so that is reduce the risk, reduce the contamination risk. Right. And then the next thing is that, okay, for light tubes, since it is, okay, mostly is the glass light tube. So that's why it's better you have the glass register, means that you have the glass policy. So glass policy means that you have a proper SOP stating like, if let's say glass breakage, then what action to be done? You need to inform to who, and then products that are affected, you need to segregate out first, stop the picking process, okay, and then do you need to dispose the product? So step by step, okay, you need to have this standby first, because in case they breakage, then the warehouse personnel, they will know what to do. So non-potable water means what? Non-potable water means the non-filtered water. So non-filtered water, then what can it be used? It can be used to clean up the warehouse surrounding, okay? And then the external, the pipes, the pumps, okay? So the external drains, and then used for toilet purpose lah. All right. So equipment, okay, this equipment here is mentioning on the equipments that we use inside, example, like in your cold room, okay, the freezer, okay, any equipments that you use inside the warehouse, and also including your truck, okay, your vehicle that you use for transportation, all these, okay. So here it says that first thing first, for food contact surface, it must be resistant and also non-toxic. So example, like I say, if inside the cold room, okay, you have the stainless steel rack. So the stainless steel rack, make sure it is the food grade, it is of the grade of the food grade. And then example is like 304 or 316 lah. There is a grade for it. Okay, so it's more resistant. Okay. And then other than that, if you got used measuring devices, example, if your products that you are manufacturing right now is temperature sensitive, so maybe you need to keep it under chill storage or freeze storage. So if that's the case, then you must calibrate the thermometer. Okay, that means calibrate the temperature monitoring system or the data logger or the temperature, the sensor inside the cold room. Okay. So must calibrate it, and then must be according to the recognized standard. Recognized standard means what? Means that the lab that you are arranged for calibration, make sure it is ISO 17025 accredited. Okay, so next, preventive maintenance program. So we must make sure that all the equipments are, okay, must be functioning well. Okay, it must be functioning well. So that's why we need to frequently do inspection on its functionality. That's why we have this preventive maintenance program. We don't want to wait until it's spoiled only, then we repair it, okay, and fix it. So we do preventive maintenance. So first thing first, you must have a proper schedule for it, preventive maintenance schedule. Inside the schedule is like a timetable. You list down all the equipments that you use in your storage warehouse, okay, or during the loading, you will use any equipment, palletizing and all. So you list down into the schedule, and then what are the criteria for you to check, okay, what you want to check. The electric cord connection, okay, the lubricants and so on. Okay, so you list down already, and then what is the frequency? How frequent do you want to do maintenance on it? Okay, so there is a schedule, and then every time after done maintenance already, you must record it down as well as an evidence. Okay, so and then make sure it's done by a trained personnel, means that we must arrange training for whoever that we assign to do maintenance. So if we get our internal staff to become the technician to do maintenance and repair, we must make sure we give training for them, okay, guide them what is the proper way, okay, on checking. And then other than that, post-maintenance cleaning and pre-use inspection. This one means that whenever we done the maintenance work already, then we must check if the equipment is clean or not. Okay, must inspect the hygiene wise, okay, hygiene condition. And then second thing is pre-use inspection, means before we release back to continue using it, then we must make sure that is it functioning as normal, operating as normal. And second thing is that because sometimes maybe you do maintenance, maybe you will use some of the maintenance tools, okay, or example like grease. So is there any grease or any residue left over or tools that is left over in the equipment? Then we must clear it off first. So that's why there is this post-maintenance cleaning and pre-use inspection. It must be recorded clearly. Okay, next thing, management of purchase material. So this one is talking about, let's say you are buying the raw material, packaging material, and any other things that you buy, chemicals you buy from the supplier, okay, or the service provider. Then make sure first thing, you must evaluate the supplier or service provider first. Okay, evaluate them not just based on the pricing, okay, whether reasonable or not, but also evaluate based on their delivery service, okay, and then do they provide COA, do they provide SDS, and also do they provide you the specification that you requested. Okay, so all these requirements and also after sales service. All right, so is there prompt response and when you're asking question? Okay, so all these must be evaluated first, then only you register it as approved supplier list, okay, into the approved supplier list. So not only that, not only during the first time you buy from them or you engage from them, that other than that, every year you also must do re-evaluation. That means you must every year monitor their performance, continue to monitor their performance. So roughly is checking on the similar criteria like I said just now lah. Okay, so every year must evaluate them as well. So if let's say one day when you evaluate the supplier, you give very bad rating, so in that case you have to source for another supplier, right? Then only you remove this supplier from your approved supplier list. Okay, so we don't simply remove the supplier name from the approved supplier list because we want to keep inside the list for as a standby, as a backup alternative. Okay, but if let's say you when you evaluate them, the yearly evaluation, you really think that their service and their product doesn't meet your specification, doesn't meet your expectation, then only you can take action to terminate it from the approved supplier list. All right. So other than that, they also advise to do the supplier audits. Okay, go to their site and then check on their practice. Okay, and then make sure that there is agreement between you and the supplier. And also your site must do incoming inspection for all the materials entering your premise. Okay, so next thing is that all the truck, okay, and then vehicles must be maintained in the good condition. So that's why you must frequently go and inspect your vehicles. Okay, so that's why you will do the maintenance on your vehicles. You want to check the aircon, check the filter, okay, check brake and everything. Especially if let's say your truck, okay, is to deliver those, is transporting those, having the cold chain logistic one. So that one is also very important. Okay, you must do frequent checking on the vehicle condition. Other than that, not only check the condition and functionality, we also must check the vehicle cleanliness as well. Okay, that's why you need to have the vehicle inspection checklist. Okay, so there must be cleaning between loads for vehicles or condensers, container used for food and non-food product. This means that if now you are using a truck to deliver food, then later on is another type of products, then in between you must do cleaning. That's why you must have a cleaning record for that. Okay, so next thing, procedures in place to ensure logistic units are maintained in good condition. So, okay, do not use gasoline or diesel powered forklift truck. So why we don't use diesel and gasoline powered forklift? Because, right, the gas and the diesel forklift, they actually emit the exhaust gas like carbon monoxide, nitrogen oxide, and also the particulates. So actually these emissions, right, they can contaminate the food products and also the environment where the food is being stored. So in the end, it will cause poor air quality, and somehow it may alter the odor of the food as well. So that is why suggest to use the battery or we say electric forklift inside the enclosed storage area, means inside the warehouse. Okay, so next one is that all these practices, for example, like loading, transportation, and cross-docking must meet all the requirements as stated in this ISO TS standards. Okay, so what is cross-docking? Cross-docking actually means, right, goods that are transferred to another destination, and then it involves using different truck. For example, now you use truck A to deliver your ice cream products to the third-party warehouse. And then you put it at the third-party warehouse store for a few days first. And then after a few days only, you load it back into the truck and then continue its journey. Then this one is called cross-docking. But if let's say you are using one transport, let's say truck A, okay, you use truck A to deliver your products, ice cream products, and then you go all the way from KL to Perak to Kedah. Okay, there is no unloading of the ice cream, then this is not considered as a cross-docking. Okay, so for cross-docking, also need to make sure that during your transfer of your goods, okay, how much time that you use, you must control it. Make sure that during the transfer, it will not take too long until your product quality, okay, is affected. All right. Okay, so next one. We must also make sure that we provide clear instructions and also emergency contact numbers to the transporters. Okay, to the transporters means our truck or lorry driver who help us to deliver our products to the designated destination. So we must make sure we have clear instruction. Like example, if let's say your car break down, then who do you need to contact? What action do you need to take? Okay, so you need to immediately inform the customers, and then is it you need to engage another logistic units to come over to do the transferring of the product, the back-to-back transfer first immediately. Okay, and then you must inform to the food safety team of the company. All right. So they must also be provided with the emergency contact numbers. Emergency contact numbers means give them example the police station contact number, bomba, okay, the panel clinic, because sometimes if let's say it's due to incident, due to accident, all right, so then you need to give all these emergency contact numbers, and most importantly is the food safety team contact numbers, and also your relevant department that you need to inform them. Okay, so sometimes, okay, certain companies, they will have the command center in their company to monitor the status of the truck delivery, okay, where it has gone to. So anything happens, okay, must inform to the command center in the office. All right. So next thing, instructions on how to preserve the temperature or other environmental control. Example, if let's say this container, it doesn't have the refill unit, okay, to maintain the temperature inside, then you must clearly inform the driver not to overstay overnight and so on. Okay, and then must make sure that conduct checks before we continue the journey. Okay. So next thing, before loading, all the logistic units must be inspected, okay, in good repair, and then no bad order, and also it must be in good condition. So what logistic units means? Logistic units means that the units that are used to transport or store the goods, okay, for example, like the case, okay, pallet, container, vessel, and silo. All these also must be in clean, must do cleaning, ensure that it's in clean condition and also in good condition. Okay, so for non-conforming goods, then we must have a proper identification, means that we must clearly label if let's say the product is already non-conformance, okay, means doesn't comply to the requirements, then we must label it, and then you must have a designated area at your warehouse. Okay, in your storage area, there must be an area called the reject area or the quarantine area. That is the place where you can keep your non-conforming items until they are decided to be disposed or returned back to the supplier and so on. Okay, before any decision made, so we must keep it in a designated area called the reject area or the quarantine area. Okay, and then other than that, we must also have a proper SOP to indicate if let's say customer return or reject to us, or let's say our products are close to the expiry date, then what we need to do. So we need to immediately do the effective stock rotation, clear off the goods that are already almost expired first, okay, compared to the newer batch one. Okay, effective stock rotation. So next up, talking about the personal hygiene. So all the workers or staff that are working inside the warehouse and also in charge of loading the products into the truck, actually, as long as you are in contact with the products, you are considered as the food handlers. So all the food handlers, you must make sure that you check on your health status and that is through medical screening. That's why you must do a medical checkup right now, okay, for all the food handlers. And then other than that, okay, must make sure inside the warehouse, storage warehouse, we no eating, no drinking, okay, don't bring your own Tupperware, okay, your McDonald's, okay, go inside the warehouse and eat. So all these are actually strictly prohibited. So why? Because another concern is that maybe the product that you are eating is that you bring into it, maybe inside contains allergen, right? So allergen is also one of the contamination. So that might be contaminate the products inside that are originally not allergen containing. Okay, so no smoking, no eating, no drinking inside. So other than that, provide staff facilities. So example, you have a proper changing room, and then inside must have the hands-free operated hand washing basin, okay, because you need to wash off your hands first before you enter the warehouse area. Okay, and then you have the locker, all right? So locker to keep your personal belongings. Okay, so if let's say you use the hand washing sink, then make sure it must be separated from the sink that you use to wash the equipments, and then must be equipped with the proper PPE lah. So depends on your warehouse what kind of PPE that you need to comply, then you need to provide to your staff. And then other than that, okay, must have the visitor and contractor policy. Visitor and contractor policy is for us to control whoever outsiders that come to our warehouse storage area. Okay, so whenever they want to enter, they also must comply to our company hygiene regulation. Okay, they also need to follow us, like put on the proper PPE. They need to wash their hands first, and then no jewelries, no accessories, no personal belonging, and then make sure they are in good health status, means they are not fever, they are not having cough, then only we allow our visitor to enter. That's why in this case, we will have a visitor form, okay, visitor health declaration form. Okay, ask them to fill out first, and then we verify it before they can enter our warehouse area. Okay, so next one, in terms of the cleaning part, okay, so similar like the maintenance just now, also need to have the cleaning schedule. Okay, cleaning schedule means you list down properly all the areas that you need to clean and what are the equipments and tools you need to clean. All right, and then you must train the staff who do cleaning. So yes, cleaning also need to train them. Why? Example, if let's say now you use, we say example, Max Clean, okay, use Max Clean to wash the floor. But then, okay, suppose the dilution factor is 50 ml mixed with 1 liter of water. Okay, it is actually stated over there. But then at the end, okay, the staff is not being trained, so they are not aware, and then they are not following the dilution factor, and then their cleaning is not effective already. So when you do the swab test on your equipment, you notice that, hey, how come my result keep on failing? That is because, okay, we don't train our staff. That's why, okay, this is very important as well, to avoid the mishandling of the cleaning agent. All right. And then you must, inside the schedule, must clearly write down who responsible to do the cleaning, what are the cleaning agents that is suitable to be used, what are the methods, because maybe certain equipment or certain area, you just need to use the clear water to clean. Certain thing you need to use detergent. Okay, so different methods, that's why you need to indicate clearly. Other than that is the frequency, how frequent you need to clean it. And of course, not forgetting post-clean inspection and pre-startup inspection. Post-clean inspection is that after clean already, then you check, okay, is it in a good hygiene condition? And then before you release it back for resume in operation, then you check whether it's okay, functioning as usual. There's no leftover residue, cleaning chemical residue or not. Okay, so that is called pre-startup inspection. And then if you use cleaning chemical, don't forget to get the safety data sheet from your suppliers. Okay, so and then other than that, it must be the food grade. Like if let's say you are using the cleaning chemicals to clean the food contact surfaces. All right, and then if let's say now you use the refill bottle, can or cannot? Okay, refill bottle to keep your cleaning chemicals. Yes, provided that you must label the refill bottle. Okay, so usually people will just label like cleaning the floor. So suggested you to label the name of the chemicals, means more clear identification. Example, like just now say Coolguard Max Clean. Okay, write it clearly onto the bottles. Why need to label so clear? So that we can trace it back to the SDS. We can traceable to the safety data sheet. Okay, and then as I said earlier just now, cleaning chemical must be separated storage. All right, so how we want to make sure, how we want to check our cleaning is effective or not? We do periodic swab tests. Okay, so other than that, okay, when I talk about waste, for example, maybe in your storage warehouse, sometimes you will throw the cellophane tape, okay, the paper carton and all that, okay? So make sure the waste bin is covered, okay? That means don't open up, and then no overflow lah. Okay, if let's say overflow happens, means that you need to increase the frequency to clear it off already, your waste bin. Okay, and then if let's say the bin to store hazardous substances, okay, toxic substances, then also same, you need to label it and then store in designated area. So if for the bin to store the toxic substances, it must made of impervious materials. Impervious means impermeable material. Okay, and then it must be in the locked in a cage, okay, or closed, and then it must be closed as well. The bin to store the toxic chemical must be closed as well. All right. So next, this slide is talking about we must do the pest control monitoring, all right? Because pest is one of the hazards, okay, that can affect the food safety as well. So for pest control wise, of course, first thing we must engage the licensed pest control service provider. So licensed pest control service provider means that, okay, they have their license lah. So usually what license we need to obtain? First is the Borang C. Okay, so usually Borang C is their license for them to prove that they are the allowed pest control operator. Okay, and then the second type of license, okay, you need to get is the Borang B2. That license is to prove that they are allowed to sell the chemicals, the pesticides, and also they can store the pesticides that are for sale. Okay, so one is Borang C, pest control operator. One is the Borang B2, which is sell and also store for the pesticides to be sold. Okay, so other than that, other than getting this license from the pest control service provider, we must also make sure that the one who come over to our company to do the pest control, like spraying, fogging, and so on, or install the TRPS station, okay, replace the glue board. So they must be trained. Trained means that, okay, they have a license themselves also, which we call the applicator license. Okay, even the assistant also, they will have assistant applicator license. So all this must be obtained from your service provider. Okay, and then every time they come, they will give you a service report. Service report inside will write down clearly what are the chemicals that they spray or what are the activities that they do. They replace what baits and so on. So you need to take note the chemicals that they use. So if let's say they're using Fendona or Ebor, so do they provide you the safety data sheet? Okay, remember to obtain from the service provider as well. And then, okay, routine inspection and must have trend analysis lah. All right. So next one, goods identification here is talking about, okay, when we do picking process. When we do picking process, then make sure that when you pick that time, okay, you must have a clear label, okay, on every of the products, clear labeling like batch number or lot number, receiving date, or the supplier's name, okay, and then if can pass before date or the use by date, and then its temperature information and so on. All these information must be clearly labeled. That is what it means, identifier. Okay, identifier means label. So goods identification. Okay, this slide is talking about if let's say now we actually get products from different logistic unit. Okay, the logistic unit is like just now I say, okay, from this pallet mixed with another pallet. Okay, so we want to mix in. Okay, we want to picking and then we mix it in one pallet. Then we must clearly have a record to record down when is the time and date of picking, and then same, okay, what is the pallet, okay, the labeling must be clear, batch number, and then the name of the supplier. And also the inventory system means stock in, stock out, means before and after you open and then you reassemble again. So you must have a clear inventory records. So that for identification and traceability. All right, so when we talk about traceability, we must do periodic mock recall. Okay, why I want to do periodic mock recall? Okay, to make sure that our traceability system is effective. All right, so if in touchwood, in case there is actual recall, please make sure you notify your certification body within 3 days. Okay, so safeguarding of goods here is talking about, okay, we must have a proper SOP when it comes to protecting the goods from these several issues like sabotage, okay, bioterrorism, mislabeling, and so on. So sabotage is like they try to harm the business reputation due to personal grievance. For example, they try to poke a nail at your truck tire, so causing your vehicle unable to move. Okay, so they try to affect your operation. That is called example sabotage. Okay, so terrorism is more on like, okay, causing some scary, okay, example like they try to pollute the main water supply, okay, and then spread it to everyone. So all this is under terrorism. Then mislabeling, counterfeiting, tampering, okay, means trying to alter the original product. So all these, okay, must have the proper SOP to strike down, okay, how we want to handle this issue. All right. So incoming and outgoing goods also must be checked. That's why we always do incoming inspection and also outgoing inspection. Okay, so now, okay, there are some of the quizzes here for you. Okay, so let's try to do it together, yeah? So the first one, Organization shall retain the information of time and date of operation when the goods are delivered in bulk or from different logistic units. Means that, like just now I say, okay, when it combines from different pallets, okay, different cartons, so we must write down, okay, when we do the packing, what time we do it. Is it true or false? What do you think? Okay, so we have answer from Siti, true. Okay, what about the rest? Okay, good. So mostly answer true. Yes, correct. The answer is true. All right, so good try. Let's go to the next one. Checks are not mandatory to be made on the load before continuing the journey unless customer requests. Means that every time when the truck already reached destination A, so after that they continue their journey, okay, then they don't need to check unless if got customer request. Is this true or false? Checking on the products, checking on the vehicle inside the condition. Okay, so most of you answered false, or all of you answered false. Okay, good. The answer is false. Okay, so that we must check no matter got any customer request or not. This is the practice that we need to comply. All right, next one. The following information must be provided to the operator, means that to our truck driver, vehicle driver, before they start their transportation journey, except which information. Means that which information is not stated in the standard that we must give to the transporter. Okay, so all of you answered C, very good. Okay, so what about emergency? Okay, so location of fuel station, of course, this one, the driver himself or herself need to know about this lah. But then this is not stated in the standard that these are one of the information that we need to provide to them. Okay, but in fact, is the emergency contact number and instruction on how to preserve the temperature if our product is in the temperature sensitive storage condition. So now I would like to ask, okay, some additional question. If for emergency contact numbers, okay, who do you think are the important parties that we need to provide the contact numbers? Anyone can share? From your perspective, who do you think the driver need to contact, okay, immediately? If let's say throughout the journey got face any issue, okay? Okay, good try. Okay, the superior, the police, okay, the food safety team, the logistic team, yes, of course, as I said just now, if they have the like a control command team at the warehouse there, the HQ there, then must inform them immediately also. Okay, and then inform, yeah, correct, superior. Okay, good. So next one, suppliers that are not active shall be removed from the approved supplier list, true or false? Okay, so in this case, there are mixed answers. All right, so there are mixed answers. There are some answer true, there are some answer false. The answer is actually false. Okay, so bear in mind, in this sentence, it says suppliers that are not active, okay, can be shall be removed, means must be removed from the approved supplier list. Means that throughout that whole year, you didn't engage this supplier. So that's why you just remove it from the approved supplier list. Actually, this is not how it works, okay? So when we want to remove them from the approved supplier list is when we evaluate them yearly during the yearly performance evaluation. Then we evaluate, okay, maybe they are rating, their service is not good, their product quality doesn't meet our requirement, then in that case, you can take action to terminate these suppliers, all right? So it's not just based on if that year you didn't buy from them, then you just remove from your approved supplier list. Because as I said, suppliers that are you didn't engage, you can still remain in your approved supplier list because that serves as a backup or alternative supplier, okay? So next one, regular pest inspection in the storage warehouse. Okay, so in the storage warehouse is sufficient to ensure that food products are not contaminated by pests in the vehicle. True or false? Means that, okay, we do regular pest inspection, monitor, okay, then it's sufficient enough to prove that the food will not be contaminated by pests inside the vehicle. Okay, if false, so those who answer false, then what you think? What else you need to do? Okay, so to all of you who answered B, right? What do you think? Is okay, what other thing that we can do? Vehicle checking need to be done as well. Correct. Okay, that's why I said just now we have to have the vehicle inspection checklist. Okay, so when you check the vehicle, make sure you check inside got any odor or not, because sometimes maybe example like dead cockroach, they have the smell, right? So you can trace. Then also need to check there is any droppings, okay, of the rodents or not. So you need to check the vehicle, not just the storage condition. Okay, we need to check up to the vehicle inside. Okay, so good job, everyone. Okay, next one. Preventive maintenance schedule for all the vehicle shall be established to address any potential issue before they become problems. Okay, so since most of you answered true, then what maintenance you need to do? What are the things you need to check on the vehicles? If based on your current practice, so can you give a few examples? Service, yes, service schedule, okay. So check the brake, check the filter, okay, and so on lah. All right, good. Okay, so is there any questions? Okay, so that's the end for the quiz session. So now it's open for everyone. If you have any questions, so you can leave in the chat box. Okay, so if you or maybe if all the while you have some obstacles that you face in terms of transport storage warehouse, maybe you can put it down over here so we can do sharing. Anyone have any questions to ask? Okay, yes, okay, can have the slideshow. We will send to you after the webinar today. Okay, so we have one question from Yan Yi. Is it important to monitor relative humidity of processing room with cooking process? Okay, so cooking process, they will release heat, isn't it? So I will suggest that yes, you need to check on the relative humidity. Okay, install a thermal hygrometer. All right, because it's a cooking process. Yeah, so it's suggested to have check on the humidity as well. Okay. Intan, is it battery or electric type forklift is necessary for food packaging industry used inside warehouse? Okay, hi Intan. So yes, if your warehouse is enclosed warehouse, means is like inside, okay, enclosed area, then you must use electric or we say battery type forklift. Okay, because even though you are just not processing food products, but food packaging. Because as I said just now, not only worry that it contaminate the food product, but actually the surrounding air will be harmed as well. So yeah, suggest to that. How about LPG forklift inside there? Okay, so does it actually release, okay, Ravi, so does it release any fumes or gases? Will it release any fume or gases? Okay, because you know LPG is a fuel source, right? So may be practicals, okay, because the diesel emission is a concern. Okay, so any other questions? If we're not using tanker, we can just put NA right for this part. Yes, if you do not use tankers, then you just put means that you don't use transport tanker in your operation. Okay, so Huda, does epoxy materials can help to solve it? So actually, yes, epoxy materials can help to repair cracks in the concrete floors also, because epoxy is a strong materials. Okay, they can fill in the bond cracks. Yeah, so it's considered a strong type of materials. So this can be one of the improvement way as well. Okay, to make sure that your flooring is long lasting and also durable lah. Because the epoxy, they can actually withstand high resistance, withstand higher weight of the materials. Okay, so are there any other materials? Maybe you can consider also PU coating. Okay, so if no other questions, then okay, so our next live webinar will be on 23rd September, okay, which is on anti-bribery in ESG. So during that webinar, we will dive into the integration of anti-bribery measures within the ESG strategies, highlighting essential practices for enhancing corporate governance and ensure regulatory compliance. Okay, so hurry up and scan the QR code, okay, to join this webinar for more insights, okay, more detailed insights. Okay, or you can click onto the link to the next webinar that is already shared inside the chat box. Okay, so okay, as a token of appreciation, everyone staying here for 1 hour. So we would like to offer you a free 30 minutes consultation, okay, on FSSC version 6, okay? So feel free to scan this QR code also at the bottom left here because limited slot is available. All right. So thank you so much, everyone, for your time and also participation. So I really appreciate it, and I really sincerely hope that everyone can benefit from today's sharing. Okay, so thank you and have a nice day. Goodbye.